We are kicking things off with an incredible look at the International Space Station as SpaceX prepares for a massive resupply mission. SpaceX is set to launch the CRS-34 mission from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station this Tuesday evening, carrying about 6,500 pounds of vital cargo to the Harmony module. We dive into the science manifest, where we explore how Odyssey compares bacterial behavior in orbit against ground simulators, and how SDORIE monitors charged particles to sharpen our space weather forecasts, all while looking at the fascinating research happening with Laplace on dust grains in microgravity.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSocket's Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the critical weather considerations surrounding this high-stakes flight. The 45th Weather Squadron has issued a forecast, giving us only a 35% chance of good liftoff conditions due to concerns about cumulus clouds and surface electric fields. We break down the potential launch scrub and look ahead to Wednesday's attempt, where the forecast improves to a 65% chance of success, analyzing the risks associated with flight-through precipitation rules. Now, let's shift gears entirely to the monumental financial future of space. Elon Musk's SpaceX is reportedly preparing for a historic IPO in June 2026, aiming to raise over $75 billion and potentially achieving a post-merger valuation of $1.75 trillion after integrating with xAI. We examine how this move, alongside their substantial Bitcoin holdings, could create a permanent price floor for digital assets and redefine global capital markets. And finally, a truly mind-bending cosmic collision is on the horizon. Independent astronomer Bill Gray predicts that the upper stage of a Falcon 9 rocket will slam into the moon on August 5, 2026, near the Einstein crater. We discuss the physics of this predicted orbital dance, the implications for space debris, and whether putting upper stages into solar orbit is the only way to protect our future from these growing risks. Stay with us for the rest of the news. SpaceX is scheduled to launch supplies to the International Space Station, ISS, via Falcon 9 and Cargo Dragon no earlier than Tuesday, May 12th, as part of its commercial resupply services contract. This mission is designated as a return to launch site, RTLS, meaning the Space Coast area will experience sonic booms as the booster lands near its launch site at Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The launch window presents a 35% probability of acceptable weather, with a backup launch opportunity scheduled for Wednesday, May 13th at 6:50 p.m. EDT. Docking is set for Thursday, May 14th at 9:50 a.m. EDT. NASA launch coverage is slated to begin at 7:00 p.m. EDT on May 12th across NASA Plus, Amazon Prime, and YouTube. The Cargo Dragon will transport approximately 6,500 pounds of supplies to the forward port of the Harmony module. The science manifest focuses heavily on biology and heliophysics. Research includes comparing bacterial behavior in orbit against ground-based simulators, monitoring charged particles to enhance space, weather forecasting for power grids and satellites, investigating dust grain movement for planetary accretion studies, developing bone cell growth for osteoporosis research, and examining red blood cell changes to inform long-duration mission health protocols. Station hardware components will focus on routine life support maintenance, including replacing a power cable for the European Enhanced Exploration Exercise device and a catalytic reactor for the Water Recovery and Management System. Other delivered items include components for the Universal Waste Management System, an ultraprobe ultrasonic inspection tool for vibration monitoring, flexible patches for hull repair, an updated armadillo cartridge for water processing, and a nitrogen recharge tank assembly. Astronauts Jack Hathaway, NASA, and Sophie Adenauer, ESA, will monitor the arrival. The return manifest includes an ocular imaging device for crew eye health, a trace contaminant sorbent bed, a separator pump, and a vestibule pressure management device. Notably, the advanced plant habitat, which supported long-duration plant biology research, is returning for eventual museum display, concluding its active service on orbit. Launch execution forecasts indicate only a 35% chance of success for Tuesday, with conditions expected to improve throughout the week. For those planning to watch, SpaceX will livestream the launch on its website and X platform, with coverage beginning about 5 minutes before liftoff. Spaceflight Now will offer coverage on YouTube starting about an hour prior to launch. Official launch time updates should always be sourced from SpaceX.com due to potential rapid changes. SpaceX is facing weather concerns ahead of its scheduled resupply mission to the International Space Station this Tuesday evening. The company plans to launch the CRS-34 commercial resupply services mission using a Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station's Space Launch Complex 40, with an instantaneous launch set for 7:16 p.m. ET. The 45th Weather Squadron forecasts only a 35% chance of good liftoff conditions, citing concerns over cumulus clouds, anvil clouds, and surface electric field rules. Should the launch be scrubbed, a backup attempt is scheduled for Wednesday at 6:50 p.m. ET, with the squadron predicting a 65% chance of success for that attempt, though facing similar weather challenges. This mission marks the sixth flight for the B-1096 first stage booster. Following stage separation, the booster is slated to land on landing zone 40, near the launch pad, meaning a sonic boom is possible. The Dragon spacecraft is expected to autonomously dock with the station's Harmony module around 9:50 a.m. ET on Thursday. NASA confirmed the Dragon will carry approximately 6,500 pounds of cargo, including experiments and technology, to the ISS. The spacecraft is scheduled to remain at the International Space Station until mid-June before undocking to return to Earth with its cargo and research. SpaceX is on track for a landmark initial public offering in June 2026, poised to redefine capital markets with a projected post-merger valuation of $1.75 trillion following its integration with xAI. The company plans to raise over $75 billion in the offering, potentially making it the largest IPO in history. This massive capital infusion is slated to fund ambitious long-term goals, including Mars colonization and the deployment of orbital AI data centers. SpaceX has successfully transitioned into a vertically integrated entity, moving beyond launch services to encompass global connectivity through Starlink and the development of extraterrestrial AI infrastructure. The firm reported robust 2025 revenues of $16 billion, fueled significantly by the exponential growth of Starlink subscriptions. This strategic expansion was cemented by the February 2026 acquisition of xAI, integrating Grok's large language models with Starlink hardware to create a decentralized, space-based computing network. Beyond aerospace and AI, SpaceX is strategically positioning itself within the digital asset space. The company maintains a substantial Bitcoin reserve of 8,285 BTC, valued at approximately $580 million. Analysts suggest the IPO could introduce indirect Bitcoin exposure to passive investment funds, potentially establishing a price floor for the digital asset through institutional, forced buying, as funds acquire SpaceX stock for its aerospace and AI exposure. This convergence of space exploration, advanced AI, and decentralized finance is expected to dominate the financial narrative through 2026. While the financial outlook is strong, investors must weigh the associated risks, including the potential hazards of satellite debris and the evolving landscape of AI regulation. Direct share ownership remains concentrated among Musk and top venture capital firms, but retail investors can gain exposure via public venture funds or specialized space sector ETFs. The SpaceX IPO represents more than a capital raise. It signifies the fusion of cutting-edge technology with evolving financial structures. A spent upper stage of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is predicted to impact the Moon on August 5, 2026, according to analysis by independent astronomer Bill Gray. The impact is expected around 06:40 44 UTC 02 44 EDT, occurring near Einstein crater, a heavily impacted region on the lunar surface. Gray notes that the trajectory is largely predictable, governed by the gravitational influence of Earth, Moon, Sun, and planets, although solar radiation pressure adds an unpredictable element due to the object's tumbling motion. The Falcon 9 stage in question is the upper stage from the 2025 010D launch, which carried payloads including the Blue Ghost Mission 1 and the Hakyudhawar Mission 2. While previous Falcon 9 stages have returned to Earth or entered solar orbits, this specific stage remains in orbit around the Earth, taking approximately 26 days to complete its orbit. Gray's calculations show that the orbital path of this object intersects the gravitational track of the Moon. He described the meeting as a gravitational convergence, suggesting that both the Moon and the rocket stage will reach the intersection point simultaneously on August 5th. This is not an unprecedented event. The Moon has experienced impacts from planetary bodies, such as Apollo modules in the 1970s and NASA's LCROSS probe in 2009, which revealed water ice. More recently, a Chang 5T1 booster impacted the lunar far side in 2022, creating a double crater formation visible by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Fortunately, the collision poses no danger to humans or structures, as the debris would only impact the Moon, which is populated by technological junk. However, the report highlights a growing concern regarding the broader issue of space debris disposal. Reckless disposal threatens satellites and future human missions, such as Artemis IV planned for 2028 and a Chinese mission around 2030. Bill Gray suggests a potential mitigation strategy, placing upper stages into orbits that allow them to leave the Earth-Moon system and enter orbits around the Sun, thereby preventing future impacts on Earth. Gray's detailed analysis is published on Project Pluto.